The term home refers to a variety of physical locations, including house or dwelling, neighborhood, and city or country of birth.
The continuity of residency in a location has been documented as another meaning of home. Time is interesting because its importance is probably not solely based on temporal continuancy. Instead, its contribution is due to opportunities for the development of social connections associated with home. Family, relationships, feeling of belonging or rootedness, and personal memories are key meanings associated with home places.
Lisa Malki observes that people are chronically mobile and routinely displaced, and that although our identities are territorialized, more and more people in the world live in a generalized condition of homelessness. She argues that people are attached to a place even when they do not physically live there, and calls for a new sociology of displacement, a new nomadology. In this nomadology, the exploration of home as a concept plays a significant role.
"This is not your home," said Trillian, still keeping her voice calm. "You don't have one. We none of us have one. Hardly anyone has one anymore."
The bulk of Jewish history is presented in the national discourse in terms of moratorium caused by a removal from the center.
More than 2,000 years of Jewish history are considered to be an in-between period, which did not, or should not, really matter, and did not leave any significant residue. These years were just a precursor to real life, a life at home.
They were never fully centred in terms of historical continuity. They were continually reminded that they ought to be somewhere else. Life in the diaspora was insignificant and empty until the Jews came home, until they returned to the centre where real, meaningful life resumed.
While the Jews have a mobile centre, a moving ark of the covenant, a transferable sacred canopy, the Israelis face a seemingly hopeless struggle when it comes to moving their centre, their meaning system. Their identities are territorialized. They cannot be separate from the specific geographical place that is their centre and their home.
Japanese immigrants, whose identities are not territorialized, and for whom the concepts of home and national identities do not clash, were able to add and incorporate another concept of home into their configuration without a terrible conflict of loyalties. Home is grounded in other people. The ultimate loyalty is given, of course, to the family.
Taki says, "My older boy works very hard in other province, and when he comes here, he always says, 'Oh, it's so nice to be home. I feel I can't move. This location is too important for my boys.'"
Mr. Tashi reflects on his belief and the situation. "I think home is here. Home is a base for our daily life, and I think it is here."
Home varies from person to person, and for the same person, over the course of a life. There is the little home, the base for daily activities, and the big home, where one belongs, the place of ultimate return.
"This planet is the Earth. It's my home. It's where I was born. I'm home," said Arthur. "Tea," he said. "Cricket," he added with pleasure. "Mown grass, wooden benches, white linen jackets, and beer cans." On prehistoric Earth, he'd lived in a cave. Not a nice cave, but a lousy cave. But there was no but. It was a totally lousy cave and he'd hated it, but he'd lived in it for 5 years, which made it a home of some kind. And a person likes to keep track of his homes.
Maps reflect a basic human desire to record one's position and status in the world. We need some kind of mapping within which to orient our lives.
Individual societies, nations, and religious groups have particular use of the world which are reflected in maps. Any map is, of necessity, a particular view of the world. This is sometimes used disingenuously to make a particular point, or the creator of the map may inadvertently reveal things about himself or his culture.
Search for solid foundations only lead us further into a labyrinth in which the real and the unreal, the territorially and the map, become more difficult to distinguish. Where traditions are absent or threatened, they are invented.
It is this search for the authentic, paradoxically, that leads into the fake, the contrived, or the inauthentic.
When the image masks the fact that there is no underlying reality, no virgin territory beneath the map. This leads to the current phase, in which the matter is free from any notion of distinct territory. When the image bears no relation to any reality whatsoever. It is its own pure simulacrum.
Journey's end is not necessarily better, more desirable than the journey. The Aborigines map is thus made up of paths rather than points. To most people in the world, however, the paths on a map are a means to a destination. Travel is trivial, and what really matters is a good place at the end.
What does one find at the axis movie? In some cultures, a tree. In others, a sacred mound, or some other natural feature. In the more materially sophisticated cultures, one finds the city, which, far from being an imaginary place of mind, is architecture a three-dimensional world that one can enter and live in.
When he enters the territory of which Utopia is the capital, the traveller sees not one city but many, of equal size and not unlike one another, scattered over a vast rolling plateau. Utopia is not one, but all these cities together. Only one is inhabited at a time. The others are empty, and this process is carried out in rotation. On the day when Utopia's inhabitants feel the grip of weariness, and no one can bear any longer his job, his relatives, his house, and his life, debts, the people he must greet or who greet him, then the whole citizenry decides to move to the next city, which is waiting for them, empty and good as new. There each will take up a new job, a different life, will see another landscape on opening his window, and will spend his time with different pastimes, friends, gossip, so their life is renewed from move to move. Among cities whose exposure or declivity or streams or winds make each site somehow different from the others.
Cities are imagined as much as they actually exist. Efforts are often made to recover apparently lost elements of reality or authenticity. When the real is no longer what it used to be, nostalgia assumes its full meaning. There is a proliferation of myths of origin and signs of reality, of second-hand truths, objectivity and authenticity.
It is the ruined bridge that brings home the reality of the war's destruction, and through the realization of that loss, the depth of his own abiding identification with the city of his birth, the recognition that, even after 50 years in Israel, the iconic structures of Baghdad are still signposts within the symbolic landscape of his identity.
Maybe there is something in Baghdad that ties him to the city like an umbilical cord, something that he is powerless to extract from his heart.
No one is ever free from their social or physical environment, and whether or not we are always aware of it, a home is a home because it blurs the line between the self and the surroundings, and challenges the lines we try to draw between who we are and where we are.